Hey everybody, welcome back. This is 2016. This is the new season of Slingin Dirt TV. And if you've noticed, this is not Jack Prawl. This is Matt Dennis.
A lot better looking than Jack Prawl, that's for sure.
Tell you what, let's just get into it. 2016. We got an explosive season here with dirt track racing. A lot of big names, some rule changes in the cars. Here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about some IMCA Spring National type stuff.
Right, we were actually just talking about that before we started filming, and for some reason I was thinking it was the end of the month. Boy, was I wrong. I looked at the dates and it's next week. We're going to try to get down there and get some footage off of that and check in with everybody how their off season was and what whoever it is has in store for this season.
Yeah, some new changes for this year. Just like last year, when you're watching the shows, they are 1 week behind, so keep that in mind. We do our best to keep stuff up. Go to our Facebook page, Slingin Dirt TV. Matt and I are going to be blowing up that page from time to time. Jack Prawl is still on board. He does post some pretty funny stuff on the Slingin Dirt Facebook page. So if you go check out the page, like I said, you'll keep all that. Some of the cool things that we're doing on the show this year. You'll see these two guys right here. We got Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Jeff Gordon. If you don't know who these people are and you are following dirt track racing, you are living under a rock. Big rock. Probably two of the most decorated dirt trackers that ever made it to NASCAR. What we're doing with these two fellas, during the course of the year, what I've done is I'll put them somewhere in the studio shot. Either they're in the studio or Matt and I are gonna be going to a driver's shop, interviewing the driver. These are going to be hidden in the shop, or in the shop. So what you need to do is the first person to find them, all you got to do is Facebook me at Joe's Karting, or you can even email me at buddyj, B-U-D-D-Y, letter J, at joeskarting.com, and let me know where you found Dale or Jeff, either one. I don't know, 1 week it could be Dale, the next week it could be Jeff, or 4 weeks in a row it could be Dale, 4 weeks in a row it could be Jeff. But it's called The Racer on the Shelf, and this is brought to you by Diamond Detailing out of Des Moines, Iowa, with Andrew Rice. They came on board to do this. A lot of the kids and a lot of the racers were having fun with it. I know we've kind of played around with it, and it's interesting.
And there will be times where it won't be one or the other. We'll have both of them hidden from time to time, and on those cases, we'll let you know that they're both there, but you have to find both of them.
Yep. So when it comes to the Racer or Racer on a Shelf, that's brought to you by Diamond Detailing out of Des Moines, Iowa, and it's going to be a fun play along.
And with that being said, we're going to toss to a commercial break real quick. Stay tuned, we'll be back in a minute.
Come to Diamond Auto Detailing to get your car showroom shining again for $149.99.
"2016 Producers Hybrids B-Mod Nationals will be held on March 25th and 26th with qualifying races on Friday night, where the top 6 spots for the A feature will be determined. On Saturday night will be the last chance features, with the top 5 going to the A feature along with the C and B mains for the last 3 spots. The winner will get a $2,500 paycheck. Can anybody get into the top 3 spots besides our awesome trio of drivers, Tyler Fry, Scott Stiskel, and Kyle Preiner? The last place in the A feature will pay $300. Not bad. Also on hand will be the Nebraska 305 Sprint Series and the popular Sport Compacts. With $2,500 and $300 to start the feature, don't miss out on this exciting preseason special that is sure to draw the best drivers across from the Midwest. For more info, go to ButlerCountySpeedway.com or call Brent at 402-369-0233 or Derek at 402-369-0535. Everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt. I'm Buddy Ray. This is Matt Dennis. First driver interview of the year, and it couldn't have gone to a much more deserving individual. You've got a chance to meet this guy. You watched him. It's Josh Jackson, the driver of the 37 Sprint car, Legends car out of the New Mexico area. He came up here, had some injuries. We helped rehabilitate him here at the track at Joe's. Here's Josh Jackson, the driver of the 37 Sprint car. Well, here it is, Matt. First episode, you look nervous. Well, you did say the other day, what the hell did I get myself into?
Well, you can't be nervous. The camera doesn't even exist on this stuff. You're just sitting around talking anymore.
Well, that'd be about true. Tell you what, it's the first episode of Slingin Dirt 2016. We have our new co-host, Matt Dennis. He's been around a few racetracks, won a few national championships, knows a thing or two about, well, you didn't know we raced on dirt. That was new to you the other day.
I'm from Iowa. Don't you use dirt for corn and beans?
Well, that, or you could always take your wife out and have fun, but that's a totally different show. But
I'm single.
Well, yeah, no wonder you don't know dirt. You're single. I tell you what, though, the one thing, in all seriousness, the one thing that we do have today, some of you out there at Joe's know that we've been working with a driver out of the Albuquerque, New Mexico area, Josh Jackson. Finally, the man, the myth, the legend, Josh Jackson, his mom Ginger Jackson. She's a little nervous on the camera. She'll get over it. We're just a bunch of, rednecks on TV. So, with that being said, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah.
One of the things that a lot of you have heard is that we've been working with Josh here. He's been through some stuff in 2015, and we're helping to rehabilitate him here at Joe's. And he's got quite the story, and I'm going to let his mom Ginger and Josh, if you want to pipe in, tell some more. But right away, out of the gate, tell us how you guys got into racing.
Well, Josh got into racing from his grandfather. So he was really young, and there's a long story that goes with it, but basically he went to a track one day and got in a quarter midget and wouldn't get out of it. So he's been racing since he was 5 years old.
So you're 18 now, right?
Yeah.
So about 13, 14 seasons. Now, did your grandpa race?
Yeah, he used to.
No, what class did you race?
He used to run.
Sprint cars and stock cars.
Really? Mm-hmm. Out of the Albuquerque, New Mexico area?
Yeah.
You do pretty good?
Yeah. Well.
Grandma did all right. Are you better than Grandpa?
Yes.
Yes. No hesitation on that one now.
Yeah. Well, there's the fire for Grandpa to come back out of retirement and show him. Really
yeah. With that being said, what all classes have you guys raced and competed in?
He did quarter midgets. That's where he started. He raced in, and he holds 5 national championships in quarter midgets, and bandoleros, legends, and a 360 non-wing was his last year. It was his rookie year.
Describe a bandolero, because I'm watching somebody from south of the border with a hat with dingleberries going.
That's pretty hard.
I'm not quite sure how to describe a bandolero. It's a small quarter-sized stock car in a way.
Oh, okay.
It's small.
So,
now, is this something that's traditionally centered around the southwestern United States, or they got them all over?
They have them all over.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Anybody ever heard of a bandolero in Iowa or Nebraska? Because I'm sure I've seen one. Have you seen one?
Maybe on YouTube. Not
Maybe on
person.
YouTube. And you've been all over the Midwest.
I've been all over the country.
Yeah, you've been to the Las Cruces and El Paso and all that area with the late model racing.
Right.
I've never seen one, so bandolero sounds Hispanic to me, so I don't know.
One thing's for certain, though. When I get home, I'm going to look it up. Because I'm curious now.
The term of the day should be bandolero. I've always wondered what that was. So with all the classes that you've raced, Josh, if you had to look back and pick a class that you thought was the funnest to race, which class would that be for you?
I'd say a legend.
A legend?
Yeah, legend.
Now
What was so much fun about the legend class?
Well, I mean, I've always been in.
I think what he's trying to say is that the sprint car is newer to him. He definitely loved it because it was the adrenaline. But the Legend was, it was family. We raced with family every weekend. The racers hung out together. They took care of each other on the track. Of course, you have the ones, everybody has their little beefs because they're all racing and they're all working
Racers
hard.
having a beef with each other?
No.
Who'd have thought?
But for the most part, it was, he dominated and he loved getting out and, interacting with the fans and talking with everyone. So that was a really highlight. So he loved all of that.
Are the Legends cars kind of like the old 30s and 40s coupes on a scaled down version?
Yeah.
That would be kind of like our good old time racing association then.
Right.
Kind of like some, right?
Like our midget class.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So it's funny how you go to certain parts of the area and they call one class something, and you're like, what in the world's that? And come to find out, it's the class that you watch every week in your own territory, the U.S.
It's like around here you have your stock cars. Somewhere else you have your street stocks. You have what we used to have as a Pro-Am is a stock car.
Yeah.
Just depends on location, track, and however they decide to call it.
You go down on the bayou and they have bombers. And
Right.
You're like, oh, well, our bombers are kind of like our hobby stocks up here.
Exactly.
But our bombers up here are like their pure stocks down in Louisiana.
Right.
It's funny how that always works. 2015, unless I've missed something, that was your first year in a sprint car. Really, really liked it. Way more than in some of the other classes. I mean, what moved you to get to the sprint cars?
Trying to make it to NASCAR and stuff. And that's one good way to make it there. I tried my best.
There's a few NASCAR drivers that came out of the sprint car ranks. Some little no-name guy by, I don't know. You might have heard of him, Jeff Gordon. He did all right. Casey Kane did all right.
Who's that Tony guy?
Tony Stewart,
Yeah.
that guy smoked. Although the smoke is withering away, I think. Going to NASCAR, you'd like to get to NASCAR. I'd love to see you get to NASCAR. Eventually, that's where you'd like to make it one day, though.
Definitely.
Curious. I've had a lot of people ask me, Bud, if you had a deal with NASCAR, would you take it? You and I, Matt, have talked about that. I wouldn't take it. The reason why I wouldn't take a NASCAR ride, and I know a lot of you guys are going to be making fun of me out there, I would rather have a USMTS ride or a full-blown IMCA modified ride, because I don't want to be gone 52 weeks out of the year and not be around family or nothing like that. And I know. Go ahead. Pipe up.
But at the same time, you take a USMTS or IMCA mod ride, if you're just the driver, that's all you are. You're gone 7 days a week.
Right.
You might get that 1 or 2 nights at home to snuggle up with the wife and the dog, but
Yeah, but
you're still not home.
But to me, when you go to NASCAR, and then this is what interests me, with Josh. A lot of people do want to go to NASCAR, and I kind of understand why they want to go to NASCAR.
It's the big league.
Yeah, is that really why? It's because it's the big league. I wouldn't want to be. I just couldn't do it. I'd have to stay dirt. The money's great. Don't get me wrong. I'd have to live on a budget. If I was driving in NASCAR, but being away from family and stuff like that. So when I see the young kids wanting to be in NASCAR, it's always made me wonder, why do you want to be in NASCAR?
Well, I just thought for me and my family that NASCAR would really help us out and money and stuff like that. So.
Loaded question. Can you be faster than this one rookie that's coming up? I guess his name's Chase Elliott. Can you beat him?
Yeah, a little bit.
No hesitation. Yep. There you go. Josh Jackson, Chase Elliott, watch out.
And on the same token as Buddy, you wouldn't take the NASCAR ride for family.
No, it's not for me, no.
Josh would take the NASCAR ride for family.
Yeah.
So it depends on how you look at it and what your situation is. I wouldn't do it.
How many, typically over the last 3-4 years, Ginger, how many nights can Josh put in a year's racing?
Well, we did slow down some, but typically he raced every weekend. It was very rare that we had a weekend off. We did transfer. He's mostly been an asphalt racer, and then a couple years ago we decided to transfer to dirt. So it did slow down some, but he races all year long and all over the country, different things.
Now, were you only running one night a week or 2 nights a week? Or?
2 nights a week, especially once we did transition to dirt. It was Friday nights in El Paso, Saturday nights in Las Cruces.
Okay.
So.
We, I had a blonde moment. Let's get into why you guys are here at Joe's. A lot of people, you have a ton of fans on Facebook. Oh my Lord.
I saw me people Facebook again.
Oh dear Lord, my phone did not quit dinging. It was like, I might as well call my cell phone the dinger, because it was just like ding, 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 ding. And it's another Josh Jackson update or another Josh Jackson fan. I was like, dear Lord, who's got more fans? You or Jeff Gordon? Or you or Chase Elliott? You've got an incredible namesake down in the Southwest. Nobody's going to have that many fans if you're not a great all-around kid. And speaking of which, this kid is an all-around awesome kid. I am so honored to have met you and to get to work with you. I'll let Ginger go into, if you want, what happened. All I can tell you from my end is I'm rehabilitating a driver, helping to rehabilitate a driver. You've got an incredible team of doctors and specialists and therapists around you, and I guess one could say they kind of brought me on board or asked me if I could help out, and I was like, well, sure. So what we do here at Joe's, I let Josh come in. We usually do 75 laps on the track, and to a lot of people, Matt, you saw what he did today.
I seen it firsthand today.
Yep. A lot of people would come in and think that he's just farting around, having fun, this is playtime. That is so not the case.
Right.
We, go ahead.
And I was talking to Josh a little bit ago off camera. I've been down the rehab road before with an arm injury. So what might look like screwing around, it's actually a lot of work and puts a lot of strain in those muscles. So what he's doing in here, he's progressed tremendously from where he started to where he is.
Progression is an understatement. So what we do is typically it's 3 sessions. I'll have him come in. He'll do 25 laps. He can do the track any way he wants, slow, fast. I just want him to limber up, wake up the body a little bit, get his driver's mentality zeroed in on the track. In my opinion, Matt, and you've got several championships behind you. You know where I might go with this.
I got a couple.
Yeah, a couple. When you get to a racetrack, it doesn't matter if it's asphalt, dirt, or here at Joe's, you immediately go to that driver's mentality. Josh, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
You see the track.
It's a zone.
You go into the driver's zone. So on the first 25 lap segment, I want him to hit the zone. The second 25 lap segment, we actually put a slalom up in the middle of the track. And if you think this sounds easy, it is not. The carts weigh 276 pounds full of fuel, no driver. I'm gonna guess, Josh, you weigh about 200 pounds, roughly.
Oh, yeah.
So at 200 pounds, you have 476 pounds. And I actually have Josh take his one arm, and we strengthen that arm by letting him do the slalom in and out of the cones. And Josh, I can't believe how well you do that. Oh, dear Lord. You were laughing today, but I don't know if you could do that with both hands.
There's not very many people, for as tight as Bud puts this slalom up for Josh, there's not very many people with 2 fully functional arms that could do this slalom, and Josh is out there cruising through it like it's nothing.
And when we say cruising, we're not like just talking cruising. He's speeding up, hitting the brakes, turning, and it's all one arm, and it's amazing.
And he was rolling 22, 23 second lap times doing this with one hand. And his normal lap without the slalom, his best today was 15.3 today.
Yeah, that's incredible. Talk about, if you want, what's happened with Josh. What have you seen with the therapy that we've done here at Joe's with Josh, if any improvement? Knock on wood.
Well, Josh has had a lot of improvement. He's actually grown leaps and bounds from his accident back in August. And to watch him, I think his biggest challenge right now is still his speech. But physically, once we got Joe's involved, it gives him something that he's passionate about. So he works a little bit harder at it, I believe. So it's something he wants to get back to. So to watch him do these slaloms and just to get out in the cart gives him a passion that you can't recreate in a physical therapy environment.
And it's something he enjoys doing, so that's going to help out a lot. More than just sitting in a room and working a hand or an arm or weight training or something. He's out here holding the steering wheel, got his helmet on, enjoying it.
Yeah, when the place that he's staying at called me, I couldn't believe that he had been here, and they kind of gave me the backstory a little bit about Josh, and I'm like, wait, no, and then he came over here, and I couldn't believe it. He did 3 16-lap sessions, and he laid down a 14.9, and I'm like, holy crap. It wasn't really holy crap, there's something else, but I can't say it. But I was like, holy crap. I was like, I've been here for 7 years, and I barely run faster than that. And this was the kid's 4th race on the track, 5th or 6th race on the track. And I go over to him, I was like, how do you feel? And he goes, I want to go again. And, but that speaks to that driver's mentality.
Right.
Long-term, Ginger, let's look 3 to 5 years down the road. What would Ginger like to see? When I look at things, I look at what I'd like to see, what's a realistic possibility.
I just want him to be happy.
Yeah.
So, ultimately, he's here. He survived this accident, and I think soon you're not going to be able to tell that he was ever in an accident, just by the way he's been progressing. And whatever his dream is, I'm going to support. If that's driving, I want to see him make those dreams come true.
Josh, if anybody wants to follow your progression here at Joe's, by the time you guys have seen this, he's actually come home. He'll actually have been home maybe a day or two.
Right.
He is coming home. By the time you see this, like I said, he should be home. But if anybody wants to follow Josh Jackson Racing, how do they follow you? How do they keep up with you, your mom,
Well, you can find him on Facebook for sure.
Yeah, that's no kidding.
Facebook, Instagram, and then also he has a website, Josh Jackson Racing. We haven't done anything with it since his accident, but the plan is to get that back going again. So many ways to find updates on him.
Now, you and I were talking, he's not going to be driving this year. I think you're telling me you want him to take that car ownership role.
He is.
Which may not be a bad idea this year.
Right.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
With that being said, do you plan on having some local drivers down there, having somebody drive the cars? So the 37 is going to be on the track, is what I'm getting. It doesn't matter who it is. The 37 is going to be on the track. So with that being said, do you know when the 37 might be on the track at its earliest?
Well, the week that we get back is
Yeah.
going to be back to where I wrecked and stuff. So.
Did you say back to wrecking stuff?
No, back to the track
Back-
where he wrecked.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, where the accident happened.
He's like, no, that's my line. Where are you guys going tonight, bud? Oh, back to the track where I wreck stuff. And you know that.
I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, you're not going to say anything. So, well, I tell you what, thanks for coming on the show. And do you have Facebook, FaceTime? Well, you have Facebook, but
I do.
FaceTime.
Yes.
Because what we would like to do, if you guys want to keep up with Josh, maybe once a month we can Skype you or FaceTime you
Absolutely.
and talk to you guys down in Albuquerque and maybe when we're going to the Duel in the Desert in 2016, we could take a quick little detour.
Take a detour.
Yeah, I could have you guys take me up in the mountains in Albuquerque. Man, those are beautiful.
Maybe they got a go-kart track down there that you've never raced where you can beat Josh, because he beats you every week up here.
No. I beat him today. I beat him today.
You beat him once.
I beat him once. So, all right, well, thanks for coming on the show, and we look forward to staying in contact and watching the progression of Josh Jackson getting back on the track.
Yeah.
So, tell you what, this is Slingin Dirt TV. We'll be right back after this break. All right, Matt, I got to ask you. You've been with some really high-profile names. I'm not scared to say you've been with Sabine, you've been with Mike Collins, you've been with some of the best, and you've been with drivers that had that. You know, guys like me, we have to practice and race every night to get better. These guys were born with the gift to drive. What is your opinion on Josh Jackson?
I never knew him before the accident, but from everything I've read and seen, he's got some real talent.
Yeah.
And even after the accident, going through the rehab here at Joe's Karting, he's got a good chance to get back out there and get back to where he was and go farther than that. It's going to be a long road for him, but he's definitely got the drive where he can get back to it.
Now, the one thing I do want to tell everybody, you were here, you got to watch, of all people, me, have him do my form of physical therapy, I guess you'd call it. You know, a lot of people are telling me, well, how hard can it possibly be to do that slalom exercise? Did I not challenge Josh?
There's some people that with two hands probably couldn't do it as well as Josh did with one hand.
But with that being said, I mean, you look at his right arm. We were always focused on his right arm. We wanted to see where his progress was with that right arm. And, you know, right before going back home, he actually, his right arm was straightening out. He could use his right arm even more. But you're right, even people with 6 arms couldn't have done what he was doing with a slalom.
Well, I don't know anybody with 6 arms, so that would be interesting to see.
You ever seen some of the backyard markers in a sport mod race when they can't hold a line? It's because they got 6 arms trying to go, or try to figure out which 6 lanes to take on the track.
Yeah, and like with the slalom, being in here watching Josh do it, it was difficult just to watch it because I couldn't figure out how he could do it with one hand, a bad hand to start with.
No, the one thing about Josh, I do look at guys like Jesse Sabine, Mike Collins, Johnny Sadoff, Dylan Smith. These guys are champion racers. And what sets a true champion racer apart from all other racers, they don't make excuses. Right. They don't come up, well, I couldn't do this because, or I wouldn't do that because. They see the impossible, they tackle it, they go after it, and they move on. Josh Jackson is that way. I could see 90% of the racers going, but I can't do that. I gotta have both arms, not Josh. Josh said, I will come, I will conquer, I will move on, and that's exactly what he did.
And running a sprint car, you need 2 hands on the wheel to run those things. But there's still a handful of drivers that do go out there and they race one-handed. They don't like 2 hands because it trips them up. So they'll stick one hand on the deck, they'll stick one hand on their lap, and they'll just drive around with one hand on the wheel. And I think if Josh had to change classes, he wouldn't need that one hand. He could do it one-handed with his good hand. Sprint car may be a little more difficult, but you could probably still do it.
Yep. If you guys have ever, for you viewers out there, if you've ever seen not just a sprint car driver, but any driver, I'm kind of curious if you guys out there watching us right now have ever experienced what we've gotten to experience with Josh. So do you guys know anybody out there that's been in the dirt track world, gotten injured, come back? I'd like to hear those stories, and who knows, there's a good chance, you know, Matt and I could, you know, maybe go interview him, talk to him, you know, because Josh was so inspirational in what he was doing. I know it really fueled my need for racing a little bit more, and I hope I can be just as determined and you know, confident as Josh is. So tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a commercial break. We're going to come right back here on Slingin Dirt TV, so stay tuned. Don't leave us.
Hey guys, I'm Jeff with DriveDirtCars.com. Does your current race operation look like this? Well, if it does, give us a call at 815-990-2657. We're actually financing Harris race cars and CMC crate motor connection crate motors for your racing operation. Our payments range anywhere from $200 to $350 a month. If you'd like to get a new motor or you'd like to get a new chassis, give us a call, 815-990-2657.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt, presented by Joe's Karting. So I tell you what, of course we're going to have the tech tip for this year. Tech tips, we got quite a few in the can already. We're going to go see Mike Bennett from Dynamic Drivelines. That's an awful nice shirt. Yeah, you know, you're sporting
I got a little sucking up going on with this.
I say, would that be like saying you're sporting the double D's there? So
I got nothing for that one.
So without further ado, we're going to be talking third members with Mike Bennett from Dynamic Drivelines. So here's Mike Bennett.
Today's tech tip is on 9-inch Ford gears. This is the proper way to put a yoke on, Fred. So that's that. And then, like, if you're gonna buy used gears, you got to look for, like, to make sure there's not a lot of in-play backlash in them. You want to make sure that they're not, like, the teeth don't have real sharp edges on them. And then you need to know what's legal for your class. So, like, if you're running a sport mod, hobby stock, you need to make sure you got the mini spool in it. And then, like, stock cars and the A mods, they can run the full spool, or like a lot of the A mods now are on the quick change and stuff.
On these third members, if a guy was to say buy this third member used from another racer getting in, you know, and this guy's getting into the sport, how do you know if you got a mini spool or a full spool in this?
The mini spool is this big carrier here, this whole piece. A full spool will be a lightweight looking, more of like a billet looking piece inside here.
Okay.
Yep. And then also there's all kinds of different yokes. This one here is the short wide, and then they have a short narrow is that one, and then they have the long wide. So you need to figure out what yoke you're going to run or what U-joints in your drive shaft so you can match it up with your gear.
On the slip, or on these pinion yokes, in the sport mods and modifieds alone that are using the 9-inch third members, is there a specific pinion yoke that you recommend?
I like the long wide. It's got a little bit more angle to it. It gives you a little bit more, you know, it's not a lot, but it's just every little bit helps nowadays.
Right. There you go, folks.
Tell you what, Mike Bennett, he makes some incredible products. You've gotten a chance to talk to the guy in the past. I have nothing but good things to say about the guy so far.
Every time I've dealt with him, it's weird. I don't see him out of Super Nationals. That's the only time I really ever see him, because the guy was so busy with his previous employer, and he's 10 times busier now that he's on his own with Dynamic Drivelines. And it's far and few between it. I've seen a product of his have a flaw, a malfunction. It's top-notch quality work.
Did you say malfunction or malfunction?
Malfunction.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that. The one nice thing about Mike Bennett that I've noticed is he's also, now there's a lot of great producers and manufacturers in the racing world, but Mike Bennett is so down to earth. He will not rush you. He will take his time, make sure that you need or you get what you need the first time, every time. Not saying that everybody doesn't do that, because there's a lot of great manufacturers and producers of racing parts out there. But Mike Bennett, when I went over to Dynamic Drivelines, he wanted to make sure that I understood how everything was going together. And Fred Lauer, I hope you did notice, you put the slip yoke on with an impact. You do not beat it on with a hammer.
Yeah, I think Fred learned that lesson the hard way that day.
I gotta ask you, being a guy, you probably changed thousands of third members in your tenure in racing.
That may or may not be true.
May or may not.
Quick change is a lot easier.
Well, yeah, I can imagine. Do you like to use the gasket on your third members, or do you use the old school RTV silicone?
I used to change gears so much with different guys that we'd go broke if we had to use silicone. Give us a reusable gasket. Once it wears out after 2 or 3 months of changing gears, put a new one on. I mean, cheap.
Yeah, I think they're only like $6-7.
Yep. Unless you want the expensive one, now you're talking 10 or 12.
Ooh.
Yeah, right.
May have to finance that.
When you can buy a tube of RTV for, what, $3, $4?
Well, the one thing
and then you got to clean the housing so it's not leaking. And
yeah.
It's just easier with a gasket.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed is that with the silicone, like you said, you had to clean the housing. The nice thing about silicone, to me, in my experience, there's always been no leakage with silicone. I've put some of the good actual gaskets on the third members, and I've had just a little bit of a drip, nothing major, but I've noticed that. But after 2015, late in the year, we started going to the reusable silicone, or not silicone, but the reusable gasket, and oh, it was awesome.
Probably the Fel-Pro gasket.
Well, you know, when Fred Lauer's beating your third members on and you got to change all that stuff. Good old Fred, we gotta tease you a little bit, bud.
And he's probably sitting there giggling about it too.
He probably is. He's probably saying something
we can't repeat right now.
We can't repeat it right now. So, tell you what, we're going to do a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be right back here on Slingin' Dirt TV.
Warning, the related content may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Alright, so I'm back for another year. Songer says and Slingin' Dirt. Back for another year. 2016 is going to be a great year. We're starting out early. There's some Beatrice stuff coming up. I've already done a couple Enduros down in Texas. I'm going to start promoting some Enduros in Iowa. Could be interesting. Loving all the help I'm getting, but this is more towards IMCA, I guess. we'll have a few updates on enduros and Songer Says, and I'm sure I'll have something colorful to say about this. But 2016, we're back. Got some great sponsors on the Slingin Dirt, Kosiski Auto Parts, Joe's Karting Service, Supreme Lawn and Landscape, Dynamic Drive Lines. There's some others. I'll name them in the second Songer Says. But we're gonna go with a little refresher course. So I've noticed that there's a lot of new promoters out there, a lot. And that's good and that's bad. That means we've lost some that maybe we liked, maybe we didn't, and we've gained some that maybe we'll like, maybe we won't. But Songer's advice to new guys, number one is, don't bend the rules for anybody, because you gotta be that guy. You gotta be a jerk, you know, at times. If you bend this rule, then you gotta bend 10, and you don't wanna bend any. Second off, the black flag. It's your friend. There are too many jackasses in every class that evidently don't have to pay to fix their crap and run into everything every lap. So you promoters, don't think, oh, if I throw a black flag, I'm going to lose cars. You'll gain cars. Gain. Ask a certain track up in Northwest Iowa that used to be known for very rough driving. I'll go there any day of the week. They've cleaned it up. They don't allow it. If you want to rough drive, you can get away with a little in my enduros. You can't rough completely. Talk about that in another deal. Or go demo derby. I don't care. But don't go running in to these $10,000 to $50,000 race cars because you don't give a crap. Just go find something else to do. There's plenty of other options out there that maybe they like you, maybe they won't. I don't know. Maybe there's a sanctioning body out there that will allow them to beat the holy living hell out of you when you drive like a jackass, which is what you deserve. So promoters, remember that the black flag is your friend, and you will gain cars if you get rid of those 2, 3, or 1 guy that's just tearing up stuff every week. I promise you. Now 2016, I've seen a lot of new IMCA tracks and some new USRA tracks. USRA has got their foot in the door in northern Iowa. I'm really interested to see what they can do. I'm hoping it works out. Competition is the best thing that can happen to anyone, whether it be IMCA, USRA, the racers, the sponsors, the tracks. Competition is great. And I think this is gonna help all sanctioning bodies with a few more tracks for USRA. I'm a little worried that NASCAR may be falling. You know, IMCA picked up a lot more than anybody else we got. They picked up McCool Junction, they picked up Topeka, Heartland Park, they picked up, I can't remember if it was Park Jefferson or the place next door. So it's gonna be a great year, great new tracks. My advice to anybody who's never traveled, travel. The greatest time you will ever have. It is amazing. I love traveling because I get to run tracks I never run, and it's fun. Nobody's usually mad when I leave. If they are, it's quickly forgotten because they're not mad at me the next week. It doesn't continue. So that's why I travel, for the camaraderie, the friendships, the new friendships. So give all these new tracks a chance. Give these new sanctioning bodies, or these sanctioning bodies that are moving in, a chance. We don't want anybody to go away. We want them all to stay. And the next video might be a little more controversial. I'm just trying to ease in this year. So have a great day and a great 2016 season. Hope to see y'all somewhere.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Slingin Dirt TV. Buddy Ray, that's Matt Dennis.
Why'd you point at me when you said Buddy Ray?
Did I actually go, that's Buddy Ray?
I'm not Buddy Ray.
No, you're not Buddy Ray. Nobody wants to be Buddy Ray.
Well, except Buddy Ray.
You know, this year's Slingin Dirt TV, obviously everybody noticed you're Matt Dennis. So I wanted to throw this out there at you. Why don't you give us a little history on your involvement in racing? Because I've actually honestly had some people going, well, what's this guy know about racing?
Unfortunately, if you don't already know my credentials, you are probably in the wrong sport. Long story short, started when I was 12 years old. Here I am at
14 now? You look young.
16. 16.
Okay.
No,
How
I'm,
old are you now?
I'm actually 30 now. So I've been doing this for 18, almost 19 years now. You name a class, I've worked on a car. Right from compacts to super late models to everything in between.
I didn't know you worked on sport compacts.
Yep.
I knew late models and mods for sure. That's where you really came into your own.
Yeah,
I would say.
I had a lot of success in the Pro-Am too with Matt McAtee.
Yeah.
But now, McAtee, what was his first name?
Matt.
Okay, now, which one lives in South Carolina?
I don't know.
There was one that lived in South Carolina or North Carolina.
Not this one.
Not this.
Nope.
Well, there's a bunch of McAtees though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a bunch.
and it's deceiving because the Matt McAtee I used to help, he won a championship in 2006 in the Pro-Am class at Shelby County Speedway. Retired from sport. He got his championship. He was good. He was happy. Well, then he starts getting phone calls a couple of years ago asking if he's racing at Adams County Speedway because there's a Matt McAtee down there racing.
Oh.
Not the same guy.
Really?
Yep.
See, I remember the Matt McAtee, and so when I saw Matt McAtee, I always thought it was.
Nope. He still lives here in Council Bluffs.
Now, let's talk about your sport mod days. Because to me, this is where you really came into your stride.
The beginning of the sport mod days or the rest of the sport mod days?
Does it really matter?
Well, yeah, because the first 2 years I was with Mike Brown.
Oh yeah, good point.
Not there's anything wrong with that. Mike Brown's a great guy.
Yeah, Mike Brown's who I got my razor from.
And through Mike Brown is where I got introduced to Jesse Sobbing, and everybody knows Jesse Sobbing and the success he's had.
I was gonna say, if you don't know who Jesse Sobbing is, you're not even from this world if you don't know who Sobbing is.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, running around with Jesse, you spend more time at the shop and on the road than you do at work, but you're still at work for 40 hours a week.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a lifelong riddle there. How do you actually do that, really?
You take a nap in the truck on the way to and from the track. Other than that, you don't sleep.
You know, one thing about Sobbing, and you and I have talked about this off camera, to me, that guy in a lot of ways is very misunderstood. I've never known Jesse to be nothing but a class act, a really good guy. Now, I'm not gonna say that he can't get, pretty temperamental. Hell, we all can.
And that's what I was gonna say. He's a race car driver.
Yeah.
Most of them stay laid back. Everybody, I don't care who you are, you get a little riled up and grumpy or pissed off or something like that. Nature of the sport.
Yep.
But then you got some people out there, and not even with Jesse, it could be anybody. They go out and they start winning and winning and winning.
And winning more.
And now you're cheating and everybody hates you, and
Yeah.
you go out, you race, you have fun. He's got the talent, he had the success, and it's true, haters make great motivators.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree with that even more. Now, you even had quite a bit of success in the old late model days.
I had a little bit of success with that stuff.
Yeah, the Council Tucky Flash, Mike Collins out of Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Yep.
Now, how long were you with Mike Collins?
I was with him for just shy of 2 years.
See, I thought it was closer to 3 or 4, but still 2 years.
Nope, I started with him, actually the very first race I went to when I started with him was World 100 at Eldora. He hired me on Monday.
Go big or go home.
He hired me on a Monday. Wednesday I was sitting in Rossburg, Ohio.
What'd you think of the World 100?
It kind of reminds me of Super National. I mean, you got all these high caliber cars sitting there, but it's the World of Outlaw late model series, or the Lucas series, however you want to put it. So the caliber is awestruck your first time there, because all of these toters, all of these rigs, all of this money, these high profile drivers, best of the best in the entire nation.
You know, the one thing about the World 100 is you're talking about all these high caliber teams there, whereas you go to Super Nationals, and I'm not knocking IMC or Super Nationals by no means, but you will have guys at the IMC Super Nationals literally with what I think is a $2,000 turnkey car. The only reason why they're going there is a big old party atmosphere. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen at the World 100, but you take the crappiest car at the World 100, in that crappiest car of World 100 could probably go win a feature just about anywhere in the nation. The cars are so much more evolved. Not that IMC's got bad cars, because they don't. And that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that cheapy car at World 100 is everybody probably close to being as good as the top-notch car.
Right. You figure, and from the times I've been to the World 100, you take your cheapy car and that whole car, lock, stock, and barrel, turnkey, race ready, is worth one of the higher caliber motors.
Yeah.
So you go from a $40,000 race ready car to a $120,000 race ready car. And I've seen guys out there unload a brand new car, go out for practice, make it a half a lap, put it in the wall, load up and leave. And that's a very high dollar, high caliber car.
Yeah. You know, with the amount of success that you've had in racing as a crew chief, in 18 years of being in the sport, you've seen a lot of trims come and go. Name one of the worst things that's affecting dirt track racing today, but give me one of the best things that dirt track racing has going for it today.
Probably one of the best things right now is fuel costs. So guys can get to the track.
Yeah, I'm liking this $1.69 diesel.
But one of the worst things I've seen, and it doesn't matter what track, what promoter, what racer, fair calls is the worst thing I have seen. In my 18, 19 years, you got promoters that say, I'm not judgmental, I'm not gonna make bad calls or this or that. And I don't care what promoter it is, at some point they always pull a favorite card. That's the worst thing I have ever seen at a race.
I've actually had promoters tell me, well, we're gonna, not a lot of them, but I've actually had one or two in the last 20 some years that I've been racing. Well, we're not gonna call every little call on this guy because he brings a lot of people to the stands. Okay, so the way I see it is, you're not gonna call something on Jim Bob because Jim Bob brings a lot of people to the stands. So you're gonna be all against the other guys. So if all the other guys in the field leave, all you got's Jim Bob and his fans in the stands.
And that's what I was just thinking. I mean, you can have one driver with 50 fans, or you can have 50 drivers with 20 fans.
That's 1,000 drivers, or 1,000 fans.
I'll take the 1,000 fans over the 50 any day of the week.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know, here on Slingin Dirt this year, another thing, you won't see this come next week. So, you know, of course, we're recording this today as you're watching this, but we have a backdrop being set up, so the studio is going to look a little bit different, which is going to help you and I because we want to bring parts in. You know what's coming down the pipeline. We can zoom in on some parts, talk motors, talk all kinds of stuff like that. Of course, thank you to Creative Element. I don't know if they're really ready to have a race shop sitting in their studio. This is going to get interesting. I can just see Aaron going, what does that do, Hickey, right there?
There's only one way to find out how well that'd go over, and you know, I guess we got to do it.
Huge shout out to all of our sponsors this year. See if I can remember them. We got Diamond Detailing, Andrew Rice out of Des Moines, Iowa, Mike Bennett with Dynamic Drivelines, Joe's Karting, James Duran, Aaron, James Palmer, all of them over at Creative Element. Without them, the show wouldn't be on air. The one thing I do want Matt and I to do this year, and we've talked about this, is I do want to get out to the tracks and I want to do a tour of the track. You've been to a lot more tracks than I have. A lot more tracks.
I've been to a couple.
Yeah, a couple. But we'd like to go to the tracks, show the fans what the tracks are all about, show the drivers, you know, actually go out on the track, drive around the track, show how wide the track is. You know, how many times have you gone somewhere, whether it was Sabine or Collins or something like that, you've never seen the track. So if you could actually watch the show and see what the track is like, it's kind of nice.
There's been a lot of tracks that I've been to where it's a 3/8 clay oval. Well, that doesn't really tell me a whole lot.
Yeah.
So that's where my best friend Google comes into play, and you start doing as much research as you can, even if it's on the way to the track.
Yeah.
So this will be our perspective to help all of you to know what you're looking forward to, depending on what track you're going to go, if we've covered it or not.
Now last year, the show Slingin Dirt also revolves around the dirt track scheduling throughout the course of the summer. Last year we had a pretty long season. It was like 35 weeks for the average. This year we're going to be here for 31 weeks. You have 31 weeks of watching an ugly mug like mine talk on the screen. So that's why I brought Matt in. He's smarter and better looking than me. So, yeah.
I don't know about smarter. Better looking.
Yeah. Well, you're smarter. You got a bunch of national championships. I got one feature win in 23 years. I mean, yeah. So.
I used to do that a week.
Yeah, several times a week. So, yeah, several times a week. So if there's anything else that you'd like to see here on Slingin Dirt TV, and for anybody that's wanting to maybe do some advertising here on Slingin Dirt, just get a hold of me at buddyj@joeskarting.com. It's BUDDY, letter J at joeskarting.com. Karting with a K. I don't know how many times people tried to email me with a C for karting. It's karting with a K. Karting with a K. Right there. Exactly. Yep. So I tell you what, we'll be back next week with the new studio layout, studio set, stuff like that. So stay tuned. It's Slingin Dirt TV. We'll see ya.